Hello, welcome. Sipurimaisis. Chacham v'tam. So, um, let's take a peek at where we're holding and see what goes on here. Hold on just 1 second. This isn't it. Hold on. Here. There we go. All right. So we said that the wise man, he was always unhappy. He said that the clever one was always filled with suffering because he had the reputation of being an exceptionally wise, a craftsman, and a very big doctor. A certain minister came and ordered him to make him a gold ring. And he made for him an amazing gold ring and engraved quite wondrously with images, and engraved a fantastic tree in it. And the minister came, and the ring did not please him at all. And this caused him a lot of suffering because he knew that this ring with this tree, were it in Spain, it would be highly valued. One time a big minister came with a precious gem, which was brought from afar, and he brought him another gem with an image, and ordered him to carve this image onto the first gem that he brought. It was exactly, except for one mistake which no one except he alone will be able to discern. And the minister came and took the gem, and it pleased him. But the clever one was agonizing greatly over the mistake. How much wisdom I have, yet I made such a mistake, And regarding medicine, he suffered as well. He was a doctor. When he would come to a patient, he would treat him, and he would be certain that if the patient were to survive, in other words, if it's pressured for him to survive, he would certainly be cured by such an extraordinary treatment. When the patient would subsequently die, people would say that he caused the death. And he would suffer greatly from this. And sometimes he would treat a patient, and the patient would heal. And the people say that it was a coincidence. And he was constantly filled with suffering. And also, when he needed the garment, he summoned the tailor and worked with him until he taught him exactly how to make the garment according to his wishes, as he was accustomed. And the tailor got the idea, and he made the garment according to his wishes, except for a mistake in the lapel, which he didn't get right. This bothered him a lot. He thought to himself, even if it looks okay here, where they're not that particular about such things, if I were in Spain with a lapel like this, I would be a laughingstock. I would seem like a fool. And he was always filled with suffering. So, we're basically talking about the ring, we're talking about the gem, we're talking about the ring and the gems and the doctoring once it didn't work and once it did work. And the last thing is about the garment. So once came, the surim, the anguish that the chacham all the time felt was because what was important to him, and this is something we have to understand that it's something which is negaya to each and every one of us. what mattered to him was not whether what he was doing was good or bad. The thing that mattered to him was his reputation. He, as we spoke last time, his reputation for him was the thing that determined the way he saw himself. And being that his reputation in his own mind was something that had to be perfect, it didn't really matter. If people loved what he did, but he himself wasn't totally happy with it, or if he was totally happy with it, but other people were not happy with it. Same with the ring and the gems. That's not good enough for him. And then, the whole idea was that, yeah, maybe what I did here is considered good, but there is a place where the community of feinschmeckers like me would be unhappy with it. I would have been a laughing stock. What do you care? No, that's my standard. That's the thing that stands on his way. What he didn't understand is that any kind of effort by a Jew is priceless. The biggest problem that he had was that he doesn't have his own personal nefesh. His own metzias is just a name. It's just his reputation. That he should be important by people, and he should be aggrandized by people, and everybody will realize that because of this, he was filled with Isurim. That's why when they say about a person that he's very wise, it's a big sakana. Because it's very easy to fall into this trap of thinking that you're really wise. It's like when a person falls into a false chokhmah, he thinks all day long, how can he perpetuate that image of wisdom by somebody else? And then he agonizes himself, and he said, "How can it be that I'm such an expert? And look what happened, or I don't have work, or they didn't pay me as much as I wanted people to pay me, or I'm such a talmid chacham and I forgot the psatesvis." And this tsar was a tsar of this chacham. But when a person is zecher to true chachma, he's not looking to be liked by other people. Because the real chokhmah is tied to anova. The problem when the tree had to do with the fact that that's the tree of life, that's the Eden of gold, that's the Eden of chen of every single Jew. The stones that the minister gave him, 2 stones, one of them was engraved, and to engrave the same thing on another, he wanted to copy it completely. He wanted to mimic that completely. And he was able to do it to an extent, but he made a mistake. And because of that, the whole thing was worthless in his eyes. What he blemished here is the pgam of the chen, of the charm and the grace that every single Jew has by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because you see, he can't copy somebody else's avodah. He can't copy what somebody else does. You see, by the Simpleton, for him, Everything he does is good. He's happy with whatever it is that he does. He's happy with how much money he makes. Uh, but the chochem is that, he sees somebody that maybe it's in Spain and he doesn't see it, or he has two stones. One of them is already beautiful, has all this chen, and that chen, needs to be copied. The point is that you don't copy it because every person has his own chen, has his own attributes. And even when he thinks that he already, he was matzliach, and the minister actually liked it, but the Chacham said, he made a mistake, it didn't really come out. It's a big yisurim, a big yisurim. And his anguish because of, of the medicine was even bigger. Because before it was, God was happy, was not happy, whatever. Here he was derided by people. They said, listen, you killed somebody. And the biggest mistake of the Chacham over here is that he didn't realize, that the Kadosh Baruch Hu is the only one who creates refuahs. He's the one who's giving chaim with tremendous hashgacha. That's why sometimes medicine don't work. The tefillah is the same thing. Sometimes a person doesn't feel it, seems not to work. It doesn't do whatever it is that it needs to do. You have to daven more. But everything is in the Eretz of Hashem. In the beginning, if you notice the text, the Chacham also understood it. He says, if that person is destined to live, that medicine has to work. In other words, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants, he'll have refuah through this medicine. But the Chacham was not interested in healing the patient. He was interested what people are going to say about him. That he has these successful medications, that he's a good doctor. So if they spoke about him, they said that because of him the patient died. He had tremendous, agony from that. But the Tam would not get, discombobulated from it. He does whatever it is that he knows that is supposed to be done. And if Chas v'Chalila, the patient dies, okay, you did whatever it is that you could. And if you're not matzliach, it's everything mishamayim. And the fourth case, when we say that the patient actually got healed, and they say it was a coincidence. That's why they didn't give him the kind of appreciation and respect that he felt that he deserved. Really, his mistake was that he was supposed to be extremely satisfied with the fact that he did something right. He gave it the right refuahs. Should be happy that he made another Jew, be misameach another Jew. But the Chacham is only interested in what are they saying about him in the street, what they're writing about him in the newspapers. It's the exact opposite of the simpleton who he didn't care what the people thought. Even if they were mocking him and, making fun of him. Okay, so let them find him, you're making fun of me, you're only making fun of yourself. And then when we got, the tailor, the tailor, the Tam, whenever it is, he had one coat. When he needed, different kind of beckature, or this or that, it was okay. His wife always gave him the same simple coat, and everything, for them, both of them, everything was wonderful. But the Chacham was working so hard that the beged would be exactly the way he wants, until he sat down and he taught the tailor exactly how to do it, precise. And at the end, when it doesn't come out exactly the way he wants it, this is terrible. Why? Because in Spain, whoever it is, they would make fun of him. So when we take a look at the home, we see five different kind of agonizing, of agonies. We have, the engraving of the tree on the ring, which didn't work out. We see the mistake in drawing on, engraving of the gem. The third one was the sick, where the patient died. And the fourth one, when he healed the patient, and they said it was a coincidence. And the fifth is, the lapel that didn't come out right. These five agonies are something that stems from the Shorish Adinim, which is Mansapach, in the sphere of Bina. The sphere of Bina, in the Aleph base, we have five letters that are double. They have one shape when they appear in the beginning or the middle of the word, and they have a different shape if they appear at the end of the word. There is the mem, there's a middle mem and end mem, which is a square. You have the nun, which is one way in the beginning and a long line at the end. You have the tzaddik, also the same thing. It bends in the middle of the word and goes down at the end. You have pei, same thing. We have chaf, the same way. And Chazal said Masechah Shabbos that there is five fears that make no sense. Like the fear of the meek, the weak one, on the giver, on somebody who's mighty. There's a dread, and the thing is that the minute there's dread, it doesn't matter what your abilities are. These are fears that have absolutely no foundations. The main thing is that the Chacham has a stumbling block in his own head. It drives him nuts. It takes all the joie de vivre, all the happiness of, it saps all the joy from his life. And it's impossible to help him. And the reason why it's impossible to help him is because the thing that agonizes him are things that really he shouldn't be concerned with. To actually get down into this particular Indian, we'll see our own agonies. The thing that makes us suffer, we spoke about it many times. There is pain that the people suffer. Nobody should suffer any pain and any illness. That the pain itself is an objective pain. People feel the pain. People don't feel well. Suffering, agony, is not from the pain. Suffering is the pain that I have pain. It's not the pain itself. It's the fact that I have tsar that I have pain. This Shabbos, a friend of mine, an old friend of mine, came to shul, Rav Eliyahu Mirav. Eliyahu Mirav, throughout his life, was an extraordinary person. I think I spoke to you about him once before, and a doer, a decisive man, and tremendously charming and active and really almost like magical, in his charm and his El Chayid and everything, really really special. So first, he contracted Yenemaisa. He went through an operation. He went through Yisurim. At the end, he was stabilized, and some kind of a treatment that keeps it on, low flames, something like that. And he had an accident years ago, many years ago, about 20, 25 years ago. He had an accident, a traffic accident. And not long ago, because of bulging discs in his spine, they caused him tremendous pain, tremendous yisurim, and all kinds of like electrical, like being zapped, and he went through like a rather radical operation on his spine, three slip discs, and as a result of that, he temporarily lost the use of his hands and his legs, and he was doing physiotherapy and everything. But in the meantime, he was basically like a baby. As to be put in a diaper. Has to be fed. Has to be all these things he has to go through. And so I saw him in shul. This Shabbos. He was in Shemesh, and they brought him to shul in a wheelchair, and he has, Baruch Hashem, he has use of his hands. He can go to the bathroom by himself, now, and so he's, we spoke about it, and he told me, the most important thing, he says, a person, can go through Yisurim, what he went through. He says that the neshama is already screaming to leave the body. The neshama is already screaming, just let me go. Just let me go. And he said that the most important thing when a person is going through what he's going through is to keep his equilibrium. He says, keep your head. Know what this is about. What it is you're going through. So I told him, I saw in Daf Yomi that, I think I told you already, that about Uriah Novi that came, the witch that brought him up after he passed away, that Shmuel Novi was brought up on the bequest of Shaul HaMelech, and he came up with Moshe Rabbeinu, and and then, she saw both of them come up. It says, and Moshe Rabbeinu, when he realized that this is all witchcraft, so he went back. So the Gemara says, why did Shmuel Novi bring Moshe Rabbeinu with him? So he brought Moshe Rabbeinu with him, so Moshe Rabbeinu can testify that all the Torah that Moshe Rabbeinu gave, Shmuel Novi kept. And I said that we're actually learning three things here. The first thing is, why did Shmuel Novi ask Moshe Rabbeinu to come? He says because he thought this is the judgment day. So why would Moshe Rabbeinu be there? to testify that he kept the Torah. Kodesh Baruch Hu knows that he kept the Torah. Kodesh Baruch Hu doesn't need anybody, testify. But the inyan is that when you lean on Moshe Rabbeinu, when you lean on the Tzaddik Emes, it can get you out of hot water, even in Judgment Day, the great Judgment Day where everything is being brought to judgment. Because after that, a person is supposed to be above the archangels. With such proximity to Hashem, there cannot be any kind of impurity at that point in time. So nothing can be overlooked, even so. But if you are close to the Tzaddik Emes, even then you can get Rachmanas, which is beyond anything. The second thing we said, that it teaches us that even a tzaddik like Shmuel Novi needs the Tzaddik Emes. As Rabbeinu said, not only that you need me, all the tzaddikim need me. And there's another thing. Moshe Rabbeinu, as we learn in Torah Chaf Aleph, about the perfection of the ears, the perfection of the ears that Moshe Rabbeinu has achieved, he says that somebody who is totally faithful, he covers up, he doesn't reveal what needs not to be revealed. He only reveals only that which needs, which means Moshe Rabbeinu knows everything. The Tzaddik Emes is aware of everything in the world. Moshe Rabbeinu knew that this is not Yoyim Adin Agod Lavanir. This is witchcraft. The one who didn't know was Shmuel Novi. So you can say that when he found out that this is witchcraft, Moshe Rabbeinu left. It means that Moshe Rabbeinu went with him, with Shmuel Novi, as kindness to Shmuel Novi, because Shmuel Novi was petrified. So Moshe Rabbeinu went with him. And when Shmuel Novi is the one, when he became aware of the fact that this was witchcraft, then Moshe Rabbeinu left him. Because from here on he can deal with it on his own. The Rachmanas of the Tzaddik Emes, the equilibrium that needs to be kept at all time. The only way to achieve this kind of equilibrium is through his Beidulus. The reason I'm telling you this story is because I told this story, I told this idea to Eliyahu Meirav, to Avi Meirav, and he said that it was a tremendous chizuk for him. Tremendous chizuk for him. He said if he only came to Beit Shemesh just to hear this, he says it was worth it. He says that his Isberius now, after whatever he's gone through, what he's gone through, he says it doesn't even resemble his Isberius before. Why is that? Why is the Isberius after so different than the Isberius before? It's the same thing that happens with the Chacham over here in the story. The Chacham is aware of the fact that the Kadosh Baruch Hu is the one who gives life. But within the overall scheme of things, he's still creating a certain separate headspace for himself. A story that he lives in which the thing that matters is success, not the truth. Now, we can't be too hard on ourselves. It is very, very difficult, to break through the thick crust of the 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 make believe world of this world. Even to go ahead and make his medudus bichlal is difficult. A person is already zerach to make his medudus every single day. When reality becomes that much more evident to him, the medudus become something completely different. As Rabbeinu said, when a person will lie after 120 years with his feet to the door, he would understand, he would realize that had he listened to me throughout his life, I would have brought him to any level in Ruchnius. He says, but at that point in time, it will be too late. In other words, the more you find out what reality truly is, the more ready you are to accept that the thing that really matters is that one should be concerned with what he really should be concerned, and not with what's my reputation, what do other people think of me. Because the thing is that, Lamaisa, there's busha, there's cherpa, whatever. There are things, said we says we shouldn't be embarrassed, and there's a big Indian. Somebody who embarrasses somebody is like he's like shafich damim, is like killing him. Yeah, but that's for somebody else. You're not allowed to hurt somebody else, but you yourself, you need to be concerned. I need to be concerned with the thing that really concern me, and not with because when I'm concerned with the thing that concerns me, I may feel pain, yes, but there's no agony in there. Yeah, listen, you need to do things. You need to accomplish things. You have to pay your bills in time. You have to, treat people. You have to daven properly. Different, a yid is always obligated. And a person should be concerned with what those obligations are. A lev nishbar, that, a broken heart that Rabbeinu speaks about, it's a great thing, is when a yid comes to Kodesh Baruch Hu, and he laments, look, where am I? I'm so far from you, and what's going to be? What's going to be? Right now I'm able to mollify myself with all kinds of nonsense. Look, I'm considered to be a really wise guy, a wise person, and a great talent, and with great whatever it is, whatever great I is, as it were. These are all things. You come to Kadosh Baruch Hu and you say, I'm here, and I can't just extricate myself from there. It doesn't work that way. And you beg Kadosh Baruch Hu to help you. That's the way that you should deal with it. That's the way I should deal with it. Take the time to sit down or to walk around and make his b'edidus. At least an hour every day. Oh man, an hour a day, come on, this is a lot. And if you can't do an hour, do 2 minutes, whatever you can. But the reason why I can't is because I'm still hooked on success. I'm not hooked on the truth. And Rabbeinu says, Only when you're making zbeirus, this is when you should come with a broken heart. Any other time, shum penoi v'nishes, because it can lead to depression. Don't do it. The rest of the time should be happy. What should I be happy about? Look at me. Look how far I am. That's the chacham. Look, I was supposed to make, I made the ring. The ring is beautiful, but he doesn't like it. And I copied the gem, and he likes it, but I know that I made a mistake. And here, when I wasn't successful in medicine, the people blame me. And when I am successful, they don't give me credit. And here it is with with the clothing, the whole. These are all things that do not concern me. But the point is that I care about them. So what am I going to do? I shouldn't care about them. Thank you very much. But I care. So what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to speak to Kodesh Baruch Hu about it and ask him. And if I move an iota closer, an iota a little bit, micro something, nano advancement, the entire world looks at me and says, "The Zelba Shegetz V'Yamol. This is the same bum as he always used to be." It doesn't matter. Because if you're a Tom, the rest of the day you're a Tom. I did whatever I can. I asked HaKadosh Baruch Hu, whatever it is. In the meantime, that's what I'm in. Baruch Hashem. I'm a Jew. I'm in this world. I do what I can. I wish I could do more. All this is beautiful. All this is wonderful. When I have my own private time with HaKadosh Baruch Hu and I speak to him, then it's time, to be like a child that is, a baby. Mommy, I want that toy. I want that, whatever. Now is the time. When you have your own private time with Kodesh Baruch Hu. The rest of the day, whatever you do is wonderful. If you're not happy the rest of the day, that means that you are the Chacham. You care about things you shouldn't be caring about. You're concerned by things you shouldn't be concerned. You are hooked on success. When you should be full with satisfaction for the effort. This is up to here, for this week. Without Hashem, next week we will go into, now comes an exchange because the Tam looks at the wise man and the kind of anguish that he's going through. And they start a dialogue. And things start progressing from here. But Hashem will do that. We'll start that in Hashem next week. Mitzvah Hashem, Wednesday is the Kutim Aran, Torah Chav Gimel, and this Thursday, Torah Memtes. So I really want to thank every single one of you for coming here.